Hey guys, thank you for joining us. We are joined by Petter from Freedom Pro Wrestling. How you doing?
Hello, I'm doing just great. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, it's our pleasure. I mean, obviously, before we start recording, we'll touch on it again. That awesome T-shirt you are wearing.
My Takaya Mania German
I love it.
shirt.
We were just saying, we were just saying how much of a fan of Gentleman Jervis you are.
Oh yes, I was wearing his shirt earlier today, but unfortunately I had to switch out. He's been helping me out a lot with character work and ideas. He is extremely helpful and super knowledgeable when it comes, for example, to character work. He so you know, if you're an up and coming wrestler, reach out to that guy. He is friendly. He's full of ideas, and you know, he is just super helpful. What a dude!
Yeah, such a creative mind, doesn't he?
Oh yes, truly.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, we'll talk about the character way, but your journey yourself. I mean, when did your journey start? I mean, how much wrestling was there in Sweden growing up?
So growing up in Sweden, there almost was none of wrestling. You would find it on an old channel called Eurosport.
Oh yeah.
And that one would show, I don't know, WCW or something, like these old tapes. And my dad would put it on, and he'd say, you know, don't tell mom. and it would be you know, matches with old Frank Anderson coming in his white, you know, Sweden singlet with the 3 crowns on and stuff like that. And it was like, oh, dude, look at this. This is awesome. But, you know, what could I have been? 6 or 8 or something. So I didn't remember much. I just remembered, you know, these flashy stuff and these suplexes and kicks and all that. I loved it. And then, like, at some point, you know, you forget about these things. It never ran. And then I took a trip to the United States with my family as like 10, 12, I don't know, something like that, maybe 14. And then I saw, like, it must have been Raw or SmackDown. And I think I saw these, like, matches between Triple H and Matt Hardy or Jeff Hardy, maybe Jeff. One of the Hardys, and like the matchup was always the same. Like I was fascinated, but because you guys know they have these tapings and they have these like local shows and they travel, so they'd have almost the same match, and I'd see it several times. Like, whoa, it's wrestling again. The same guys are wrestling, and they'd have almost the same match, but it'd be different every time, and it would always be like. Triple H, he was huge, like massive back then, and the Hardys were never that big. So he would like run him to the corner, and he'd like step on the turnbuckles and do the backflip over to the backside of him, and so it would be like the spectacle of this massive angry man versus this really agile punk, and I'd be like, you know, total boo, like mind blown, right? So you know. Every time I saw wrestling, it would be a new mind-blown situation. Like every time I came across it, I was like, I want to know more. And then I lose it, you know, because you couldn't get it. Like it showed up on when I was 16 or something on the TV for like 2-3 years. And it was that like JBL's, you know, when he was champ and the Undertaker used to come out and beat his shit. And I'd be like, oh, this is the best shit ever. And it disappeared again. And you know, I'd play fighting games, and I just played the grappling characters. You know, only the like Zangiefs and Kings and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, and then at some point, like during this, I got into martial arts, and I did a shit ton of martial arts because, you know, like if I'm gonna do anything like that, I guess it's martial arts because there's no wrestling. And then like, you know, years and years pass, and then like when I'm, I don't know, 25 or something, or 27, 26, 27, I find this poster while I'm working in the city, and I'm like, pro wrestling in Sweden? You gotta be kidding me. And I start looking it up, and it's so, hokey and wonderful, and I just love it. Like, it's just like super Swedish, like these stupid characters and these stupid storylines. I love it, and I'm fascinated. And then at some point, it's like I managed to get my friends, my girlfriend to like, come along, we got to see this, because you can't just go to one of these alone, or not me anyway. I don't know, I feel out of place. But
yeah.
I brought a few of them, and from the moment I got in there, that that's when the magic really started hitting me. Like when I could bang the ring and go like, yep. Like when you sit front row, nobody's stopping you from banging the ring a little bit just to see if it's hard. and you get it. Like, this is steel, wood, and mats. That's all it is.
Yeah.
So and when the opening segment happens and somebody comes out and he starts talking trash and somebody beats him with a chair and then he beats them with a double clothesline, the blood starts pumping. And like from the moment he got hit in the back with that chair, I was like, I got to get up. I got to save him, because he's being brutally attacked by masked men. And I have to restrain myself and sit back down. It's a show. Enjoy it. And, double clothesline, I'm like, I'm hooked. I'm sold. And I mean, so it was a build-up. Every time I saw wrestling, it tugged at my heartstrings and like, this is for you. This is for you. Come, enjoy. And every time I'd get a little bit closer, I'd find Japanese matches from the 90s and I'd watch them and I'd go, like, even before I was wrestling. But every time I'd forget it and lose it. And this time I was like, after the show, you're all like, whoa, this is amazing. And then I find their webpage, and there's like a little fine line that goes, you want training? Mail us. And I'm like, and I had to mull it over, and eventually I mailed them. And from there on, like, when I started, from then, it was just a matter of getting the training and getting there.
How important was your martial arts, though? When you said you did martial arts, how important was that when you started the wrestling training? Did that help a lot?
Extremely. To begin with, I was in reasonable shape, not the kind of lifting shape, but I was in, like, I was very strong and agile and stuff like that. And what it was is pro wrestling has extreme similarities with Aikido, if you've ever touched it, because Aikido is, I mean, I don't want to start a hate fuss or anything, but Aikido is bullshit, and pro wrestling is a little bit bullshit too, and that is where grappling bullshit meet. and I've trained similar Aikido-esque things. So the chain wrestling really came easily to me. The hammerlocks, the headlocks, the wrist locks. I know the Japanese names of the wrist locks, not the English, the old school English names.
Yeah.
Me, it's not the pig's foot, it's the kotegaeshi and stuff like that. So it's so it was very easy to get into those motions. Of course there were it's always challenging, especially like running the ropes, stuff like that. There's no martial arts training that's going to prepare you for that pain.
Yeah, man, it's I trained once or twice, and Callum's been in the ring a few times as well. And we know that feeling, that first bump you take, and that running the ropes. It's not nice, is it?
Yeah, it's awful. Obviously, the bumps, on the other hand, like if you've done any, for example, Japanese martial arts, they are really into bumping. They bump on the side,
right,
a lot. It's. Have you sand Ric Flair take a back body drop?
Yes,
he always goes to.
He always lands on the side.
Yeah.
That is a judo fall, and they always land exactly like Ric Flair takes. body drops. I think he's messed up, so he can't take like the flatbacks.
Yeah.
The difference is like the flatbacks, they're bigger and they make more sound. So they're just as safe, but so I had to unlearn my side bumping and learn flatback bumping. But the pain of bumping was not anything for me. Like, no surprise, because I had bumped on much harder floors for a long time.
Yeah, it's I want to know as well. So before we talk about freedom, let's talk a bit about Thunderbolt. I mean, how did the creation of Thunderbolt come about? Tell us the genesis of Thunderbolt.
So I had been trying to find myself as a wrestling character, and I'd been doing a few throwaway matches here and there, and like doing jobs on the undercards where nobody would notice, so to speak. And then like, okay, well, if I were a wrestler, what would I be? And to me, like, wrestlers are superheroes.
Yes.
And Thunderbolt, he is a superhero. He is, you see, it's hard to, because that superhero persona, what Thunderbolt originally was meant to be, was, you know, the classic Clark Kent Superman gimmick.
Yeah.
That is it. Like, I would have the Thunderbolt Viggen, which Viggen means Thunderbolt in Swedish, and Viggo Ving. Basically, it's Vigo and Thunderbolt, right? So Vigo is that nerdy guy that gets, you know, tormented by the heels, and he has to interview them, and he's a geek. He has like the suspenders and the little bow tie and the big glasses. And the Thunderbolt is the guy who is beneath, like, who has that big, you know, Thunderbolt on the chest. He's ready to fight. And the idea was, like, everyone except the other wrestlers know. that was supposed to be the gimmick, but there was no space for it. The promoter didn't care much for it. And so what I had to bring, like, it didn't work. He was like, he saw the Vigo character and was like, he's too I don't want that at all. I don't want him. I only want the Thunderbolt. And so when I because I went to Finland pretty early to wrestle for them as well and stuff, so I had to like, how can I one shot this character? Like, how can I, without having a pre-promo of bullying and of glasses and all that, and well, I had to realize that maybe I have to dial down on the superhero dual persona situation, and then focus on being. And at first they brought me in to be like the foreign heel man, but I mean, I'm a pretty happy, pretty high energy type person. Like, even when I'm mean, even when I put on airs to be a little bit of a dick, I'm pretty funny. Like a okay.
You seem too nice to be a heel.
It's the smile and everything.
So, exactly. And so they said, go out there and you know, feel it out a little bit. Let's, you know, try him out. So I went out, like, I pushed my singlet down all the way to so I could like flex, and I'd go, look at me, like, oh, I am so, you know, and I'd push the other guy away, and I'd flex the crowd, but inadvertently I'd go, you know, you get out of the way, and the is fun. So, and people started cheering for me, and then they, like, the Finns went like, we like him and we like his wrestling and but he has to be a babyface because this isn't a heel. So I kept the, like, a little bit of show off sort of persona. I came in, even I think I think I stole a guy's roses or something. Like he used to bring Shemek. He used to bring roses to the ring, so I stole all of them. Like he tried giving me one, but I took like the entire batch. But so what came out of this became instead like this high energy, fun type of come on, let's have some fun. And then like along the way, I tried to, because I play the crowd a lot. I as you can understand from the bullshit, like I am a crowd player. I'm a typical babyface, really. So I tried to realize how can I actually play with the crowd, not just ba bum bum ba bum or bum 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 something, like that, because it gets really really wooden if you try to do that a few times, especially if you stomp the foot. It's stupid. So, and I had to I thought and I thought and I like, what is the Thunderbolt? Like, what is, how do I engage with the crowd? And then somehow it just came to me. It's power up, man. Power up, power up, power up, power up. And then I just go nuts.
Yeah.
And like that's the whole point of the character. Like what I do in the ring, I power up.
Hell yeah.
Like what do I do when I'm lifting weights? I power up.
Yeah.
Like what is my connection to the ground? It's power up. So all of it is centered on power up. So basically, Thunderbolt is Mr. Power Up.
the ultimate babyface.
Yeah.
Catchphrase that.
So I just dash into the ring, high five everyone, flip in the ring, and then like I just need like a few seconds on the mic to go, people, I love you, and all I need from you is power up, power up,
and then everybody's doing it.
Exactly, because it's fun.
But for you as well, I mean, that must be a great feeling when the fans all join in and do that.
Oh yes, it is. It is beyond. It's beyond compare, man. Like when you really find the connection to the crowd and they react the way you want them to react, it is just. And the thing about something like Power Up is that they can start it themselves.
Yeah.
And the whole purpose of it is that they want me to power up. So, I mean, it's really.
It could be when you're getting, when the bad guy, the heel, is beating you up. That's the perfect chant for them to get you back into it.
Yes.
Power up, trying to get you back into it. Come back.
Yes. Yeah. And I start feeling it. It comes natural. Like I just got to close my fist, listen up, and start pumping.
All you have to do is that, and everyone starts doing it.
Yes.
I love it.
It's fantastic.
I actually
really, really like the character you've got. I feel like you have to have a certain smile and body type to be able to pull off that character. Like you have to be in good shape, and you have to have a genuine smile, because I don't feel like me or Jamie could do it. Like I don't think we could be Victor Thunderbolt. I think it, but I think you have to look like you could play Superman, and
certainly. Yeah. And that's like the other side of what I do. I really train hard. I lift heavy weights specifically. Like I'm not a bodybuilder type. I'm not like the curl type.
Yeah.
Specifically, I do heavy compound weights. Period. Like sure. Of course I do supplementary motions like curls and I don't know, tricep extensions, whatever. But I focus on strength.
Yeah.
And so I mean, like the whole point is to be a self-fulfilling prophecy. I want people to follow me on my journey to power up.
Hell yeah.
So I mean, and that's what's so cool about it. Like, follow me, watch me power up.
I love it,
Literally.
man. I absolutely love it. It's perfect. It's like can't say it's the perfect baby face. It's just
it is.
everything about it is perfect. I love it.
Thank you so much.
Obviously, with Thunderbolt, I mean, Freedom Pro Wrestling. I mean, how did Freedom Pro Wrestling come about for you?
So, Freedom Pro Wrestling is is sort of a movement and a group that centered around basically in Stockholm Wrestling, that show that I went to the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And then got into and spent years helping out and learning the trade and helping with bookings and stuff. Like I'd message wrestlers and make sure they like I do things. I do the things and I got in there. I got in deep. And then at some point I realized that there was Stockholm Wrestling is owned by an individual, and that means he has a lot of power, and he is his own little Vince McMahon in Stockholm. And
I was just gonna say he's Vince McMahon, yeah.
Yes, and for good and bad, and unfortunately, for the guys like me, it ends up that you want something that you are a part of owning as a system, and then the ideas start working that maybe we should like start up a non-profit, like how because that's tax free in Sweden, actually, non-profits, which means that like everything that goes in just keeps going into wrestling. Nobody gets money for it. Like I can't, as a member or like as the head, like the chairman of Freedom, I can't take any money out of it. Like I can only contribute and see it grow, and then it's gonna grow on its own and become an entity of its own, and then eventually I'll lose control of it because all the other members vote together to make it a democratic thing, and that's like the purpose, to make wrestling something like everyone joins and everyone contributes, and like the one people trust will lead them, and then people can vote and talk to each other, and every year there's meetings and stuff like that. So that's like the purpose of Freedom. And then of course, like the other side of it is that there wants, we want to have some having creative control and having the ability to invite the people you would like to invite and stuff like that. So we try to invite as many people from like the Nordics and wherever, really. Like if anyone wants to come to Freedom and like makes it, if we can make it happen together, like you are cordially invited. That's like how Freedom works. So if anybody's out listening and is interested, make contact. That is like, if maybe we can't fly you from I don't know, Acapulco, because we do not have Acapulco flight money. But if we can make a sweet deal and make some sweet wrestling happen, then you'll be cordially invited, and that's like the purpose of it. Like, let's make wrestling together. And it's been so much fun. Extremely stressful though. Holy shit!
I can imagine.
How stress? Obviously, with the pandemic as well. I mean, how has that affected things?
Oh, it's well, it's a downturn. It's very sad, of course, because Sweden was a little bit slow on the reaction to and we don't have any real lockdown measures. We just have like systematic suggestions, stuff like that. So we had our last show in February, I think, last year then, or something like that. Maybe March 7th. maybe March 7th.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so about a year ago, give or take. And that was the last show that anyone had held in Sweden, like up until, I don't know, some really, really tiny shows lately. So nobody's been having any wrestling, and that's really sad. Like everyone is just, I feel like everyone is just waiting, like just curling their toes, waiting to burst into wrestling.
Yeah, it's the same over here. We've not had a show over here since around March time as well. It's the same for us as fans. We're just absolutely chomping at the bits, aren't we, Callum, to just get in the car and go to a show.
Cannot wait. It's the same everywhere around the world at the moment. Everyone's just waiting for, well, things to get back to however normal they can be. But as wrestling fans, of course, we're just waiting for wrestling to come back. And I'm sure as a wrestler too, you're just waiting to get back in the ring.
Oh, yes.
Power up again. That. It's gonna feel so good for you, man. The first time you get back in that ring with people and everyone's chanting for you, power up. It's gonna be a good feeling, right?
Oh yes. Like for me, entrance is one of the most important parts of wrestling. I take great detail in stepping out my entrance. Like how do I wanna, like, because the entrance is like the gateway, the heart of the character. Like these first 1.5 minutes, how will you be perceived by the audience?
Yeah.
And then I usually use the Danger Zone. The old Kenny Loggins Danger Zone.
Oh yeah,
great song.
Oh, it's phenomenal, and I like give it. It has a little bit of a start to it, like, I don't know, 40-ish seconds, which is a pain, but it builds up anticipation, because at like the first Danger Zone at 40 seconds, like when it gets in there at the front, I just pop out and I go wow, and I, pose and like when the refrain starts to die and it goes back into the chorus, I like get around the ring and I have just enough time to get around, high five everyone, hug whoever wants to hug, and like a lot of people like to hug. It's fantastic. I love it. And then like I get to the other side, so I do a loop, and then I get to like the third side of the ring. I hop up and like it starts to go back into the refrain for the Danger Zone again. And when the Danger Zone hit, I leap over the top rope, roll in, and
there's so much in an entrance, isn't there? If you can get your entrance just right, you've got it, because the fans love a good entrance.
Oh yes, like it's dangerous, because if the gas is bad, you can gas yourself out. But I usually have good gas, so
sounds like you need it for your entrance.
Oh yes. All I do is run and scream and yell and roll. So.
I'd be too tired after that. I'm tired just thinking about it.
I mean, as well, obviously before the pandemic, the Scandinavian scene was really starting to make strides. I mean, we spoke to Christian at Body Slam and we said the same with him. I mean, when it returns, I mean, do you see that next boom period in wrestling being Scandinavia? I mean, we had it in Britain 4 or 5 years ago. Do you think Scandinavia's next?
That's a tough one. I'm not sure Scandinavia is truly ready like Britain was or is, because wrestling is still really tiny here. And we need more time, more people, more resources, more schools, more trainers. Like, in reality, we probably like need something to really get it going, because there's an issue, because some of the shows become insular. The cities the shows have cities like territories, and that makes them insular. That makes them not invite like the neighbor wrestlers so much, and like rely on their own guys. And of course they bring in a few external people, but like when they have enough people, they don't need to train new ones, so to speak, either. And like if you look at Finland, which is a really isolated area, they train shit tons of people. Like I don't know if you have you followed that scene any bit at all.
Yeah,
We have a bit, yes, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they have like, for example, their newest crop is, I don't know, like 8 different new wrestlers from like 1 year's rotation of people being trained, and they're having, their first staggering matches of like, oh, look at me. Like they have the angry guy, and they have like the self-congratulatory guy, and they've got like the skinny guy who is related to an old famous wrestler from like the 20s, and they've got like the masked tag team, and that is just like 1 year's rotation of talent coming out of Finland. 1 year.
Wow.
Imagine how much they
Yeah.
can pump out. Boom, boom, year after year after year. Talent. And they have a lot of fucking talent. They have this guy Pekko. He's my boy. He's a beefy lad. He's taller than me, a bit more beefy than me. He does a fucking shooting star press every fucking match. Like he is a legitimately like 200-pound plus shooting star press young man. I mean, he doesn't wear knee pads, and his knees are gonna explode. I swear to God. But he is a physical specimen.
Yeah.
And that is just an example of the kind of talent they have. I mean, he's phenomenal, like Jack and shit. But they have talent, like just all over the place.
Wow.
And that's, I think that's where Sweden and Denmark needs to go. But Denmark is doing it. Like the Al Snow Academy of Denmark.
Yeah.
That is the Body Slam school. They have been pushing out people, not with the kind of tempo that the Finns are, but the Finns have had a lot of time, and they have a lot of people with experience, knowledge, talent, training these young people. So, I mean, and I think Denmark is doing best right now. They're absolutely doing fantastically well. But I think that like the rest of, like for example, Norway is isolated. They've got their own gig. Nobody's really invited in there. Nobody's really invited out, except like few exceptions, few people here and there. So nobody really knows about what goes on in Norway, and and that's really weird, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a big country. You'd think more people would be shouting about it, but
yeah, like it's not a huge country. They're but neither is Sweden or Denmark. So, but I think what's really going on is most of all, Body Slam has stepped the fuck up.
Yeah.
They have such incredible packaging.
Yeah.
Like, not saying anything else is bad. They have good wrestlers. They have good, content. They invite fantastic. They have so much good shit going on. But the package they show is like world class or something. I'm like, wow, how the fuck did they do this?
It's like as close as it gets to being like a like a AEW or a WWE style production. So much thought put into it. They're doing an amazing job with Body Slam.
Oh yes, it's like a minor Ring of Honor or something.
Yeah, a Ring of Honor. Yeah.
Yeah, it's incredible, and I think that like the growth of Body Slam is certainly going to impact all of us. Like high tide raises all boats, right? And that's what's going to happen. But I don't think that like the Nordics is as well prepared as Britain has been, or like Great Britain. Sorry, I don't know right terminology. Sorry about that. Like England, Britain, Great Britain, UK. I don't actually know what's what.
If it means anything, you probably know more about the terminology than most of the British people, so don't worry about it.
Okay. But what I mean, like, you guys have a rich history, super talented, really knowledgeable trainers all over the place, schools all over the place, promotions all over the place, and then there's like, I don't know, what is it, like 50 million people in the UK or something?
60, I think.
There's 56 million in the UK.
56 million.
Yeah. And that's, Sweden has 10, Norway has a couple, and Denmark has somewhere between. I don't know, like, the UK is freaking huge and everything's packed in a small space. And then there's all the talent and all the knowledge and all that. So it's hard to compare to that rich a pedigree as the UK, I think.
Yeah.
I wish it were. I wish we had. But, I mean, we just don't.
Well, I know for a fact, man, when the world opens up, me and Callum have said this to everybody else. We're coming over there, aren't we, Callum?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
We are definitely doing a tour. We want to come to all the shows we can. We spoke to Marcus of Man and Ali Sink a few weeks ago. We said we're coming over there. So you'll be seeing us, dude. You'll see us as well. We'll be over there.
That would be awesome.
But before we start to wrap up, a guy we spoke to, and obviously who's a big help with you. How important has Cara been to you and Freedom?
Yeah.
Oh yes, instrumental, certainly. He's been, involved and helped out a lot and done a lot of great matches for us and stuff like that. So, like, he's been really important, and more than anything, like, more than important for us, I hope that we've been important for him, to be honest. Yeah. Like, I don't want to sell myself or Freedom short, but we're small time. But Cara has some world-class talent, I'd say.
Yeah.
Like, if you've seen him in the ring, you know what the fuck I'm talking about, because he is a literal firecracker. And that kind of talent is money. People want to see that, and like, if he goes to Japan, he can make money.
We spoke to him about a year ago. He was the first interview we did. Like, the Scandi-Grap scene was Cara, and I remember him saying then, like, I want to go to Japan, and I was thinking, God, if this guy goes to Japan, he's gonna make some serious money. He's gonna be huge, because he's only a small guy, but he's in such good shape. Yeah, and he can really wrestle. Everything he does looks so good, and he really gets it. So I think you're right. He's gonna be a big name. Some in the next few years, he's gonna be huge.
For sure. Like, he's getting there, and I think he works for WXW right now, like the German scene. And, like, all this young kid needs is for someone with the right connections to see what he does, and then they'll go, this guy, we should have that guy, and then he's out there. It's hard. Like, I'm a little bit older. I'm like 34. So
you're younger than me.
Yeah, but you're not a professional wrestler, and
that's very true. Yeah.
let's face it. Like, I'm not professional enough either. Like, I mean, I can wrestle and everything like that, but can I pick up my life and just get hired by NXT UK or NXT and spend X amount of years truly developing into a fantastic star? No, I don't think, I don't have that time, and I have a family, a job. I'm a developer. So, but Cara, he is on that track, and, like, I gotta accept that there are limits to where I can go. Maybe like if I found the right person at DDT in Japan, I could talk to them. I speak Japanese.
Right.
So I'd be really perfect for that. And if I found the right person and really showed off something, they'd go like, yeah, okay, we can have a tour with this guy for 3 months, and I could do a Japan tour or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to the dub. I'm not going to New Japan. Like, and I gotta accept that. But maybe I can help train and help like get somebody on the track to success later on. You know, if nothing, I'm enjoying what I'm doing right now, and like I want to get out and wrestle wherever I can, certainly. But I also want to grow the scene, and if I can do that, that would be glorious.
Yeah, you can still have a huge role in growing the scene and doing your own thing. Like the role that you can play as somebody who already has experience is vital, really, to the scene. You mentioned the UK having those people who are experienced with that knowledge. That's going to be you in 5 or 10 years down the line. You're going to be that person passing on the knowledge. You're going to be the guy who was there from the start with the wrestling scene. So you've got just as much of a part to play in your wrestling scene than anybody else. So you've definitely got a part to play, man. And I'm sure I don't think 34 is actually that old for a wrestler now. Like there's wrestlers who are older getting opportunities. Like Bobby Fish, for example, is about 40 when he got signed to WWE. You know, I think it's more about what you can offer a company now than how many how many years you've been around. So I think you've still got plenty of time left.
Well, I mean, I'm not giving up by any means.
Good.
Like I wanna get to places like we spoke about Jervis, right? Like he's been introducing me to some, you know, he's been saying he can get me in touch with the right people in California, and I'd fucking love to, you know, take a plane over there and just take a tour wherever I can, spend a few weeks and just wrestle wherever, you know, stuff like that. I would love to, and who knows what the future has in store. But I'm also like, I'm an optimist, but I'm also a realist. Like, I'm working hard for my dream. I work out as much as I can, and I keep my diet in check in order to grow and in order to get stronger. And I do all these things, but I also know that, you know, maybe dreams don't come true, but on the other hand, who cares? I'm having fun.
Yeah, that's the main thing.
That's it, man. You're having fun. That's it. But before we let you go as well, I mean, this has been fascinating. I would love to get you back at some point, and because what I love about you is you can tell you truly love wrestling.
Yeah,
and that's why we do this, because we love it as well, man. It's been
you haven't stopped smiling for the whole interview because you've just been talking about wrestling, and it's infectious.
And I love that, man. Absolutely love that.
I've been missing wrestling so much. And,
well, if you ever want to talk wrestling, let us know. We'll get you on again, and we'll just talk about wrestling.
Oh yes, and I can tell you bush league stories about like weird shit. If you guys want to hear that stuff next time.
Oh, dude, we'll bring you back as much as you want to come back, and we'll talk about any kind of wrestling you want.
I'd love that.
Definitely, man. But before we do let you go,
I can talk for hours.
That's what we want. But before we do let you go, let everyone know where they can find you. Social media, obviously Freedom. Let everyone know.
Oh, of course. So you can find me on Instagram at vegan_Thunderbolt_V. On that's Instagram, and I think it's at Thunderbolt Vegan without e's on Twitter. And you can find Freedom Pro Wrestling is it at Freedom Pro? Is it Freedom Pro? I think it's at Freedom Pro W on Instagram, and likewise on Twitter. And just look us up. Yeah, Freedom Pro W. So just look us up, give us a follow, and keep your eyes out, because I ain't giving up. I'm gonna power up all over the place.
Good.
until
Hell
I
yes,
am
man.
out of power, and I'll never go out of power.
That's what we want, man. That's what we want. But for now, Petter, Freedom Pro Wrestling, thank you so much for coming on.
Anytime, and thank you so much for having me.
Anytime.
It's been a lot of fun.
Our pleasure, man. Thank you so much.